Welcome to another episode of Patriot Weekly, the official coaches show for your Pike Road Patriots, presented by Brantley Bank and Trust and the shops at EastChase. I'm your guest host, Jason Isbell, filling in this week for Bill Lacomb, and we're coming to you as always from Dogwood Studios right here in Pike Road, Alabama. It's a big week for Pike Road football as the Patriots gear up for round one of the Class 6A playoffs this Friday night at Pike Road Stadium, where they'll face McGill-Toolen, a 6-4 team that finished fourth in 6A Region 1. We'll talk this week with junior defensive lineman Bryson Brooks and with senior Omari Powo Smith. And as always, we'll visit some with Coach Granger Shook to talk a little bit about last week's game and about the upcoming playoffs. But first, let's take a quick look back at Thursday night's game before turning to McGill-Toolen. Before we kick things off, a quick word about the folks who make this show possible. Brantley Bank is your trusted hometown bank, proudly serving Pike Road and the surrounding communities with personalized service for families and businesses alike. Whether you're buying a home, growing your business, or planning for the future, Brantley Bank is here for you every step of the way. And the shops at EastChase is your go-to destination for shopping, dining, and entertainment in East Montgomery. From local favorites to national retailers, the shops at EastChase has something for everyone. We're proud to have them both the sponsors of Patriot Weekly and supporters of Pike Road Athletics. So let's get started. Patriot Weekly begins right now.
Every week, the Pike Road Patriots chase greatness under Friday Night Lights. And we bring you inside the huddle each week, right here at Dogwood Studios in Pike Road. This is Patriot Weekly with Coach Granger Shook, with your host Bill Lacomb. Presented by Brantley Bank and the shops at EastChase. Let's talk Pike Road football.
Hold up, see.
Welcome back to Patriots Weekly. Coach Shook, big game last Thursday night. Went down to Troy, played Charles Henderson. 45-0's the final score. It was really, it was really kind of over at the end of the first half. It was just a wonderful performance offensively and defensively for the Patriots. But I got to ask, it came on the heels of a bye week, right? It was a Thursday night game, the night before Halloween. You're at a D1 stadium. You're in the playoffs. Charles Henderson knows they're in the playoffs. That's a lot of distractions. That is a prime time for a team to be thinking too far ahead and maybe getting trapped. Your guys didn't do that, and I know you and the staff have to be proud of them.
Yeah, I was very, very proud of them. And I talked to them at halftime, and I talked to them after the game, just, of how proud I was of their maturity that they've showed here late. Really the past several weeks. We as a staff talk to our players all the time about really a nameless, faceless opponent. And so when we come to work on Sundays, we reiterate that. And, we always tell our players it's not about our opponent, it's about us and how we prepare. And our team has really bought into that. Yeah. And so, again, really our opponent, whether it's on Thursday night, whether it's on Friday night, whether it's at home or away, our standard is just to play as well as we can and make sure that our boys are ready to play. And our preparation, our practice habits have really picked up as well. So I'm proud of them. And, again, I think I think, Charles Henderson, I thought that they had a good plan, but our boys were ready. I thought our staff had a good plan as well, and our boys executed at a high level.
Even in a situation like this late in the season, you've got to be pleased with the opportunity to get reps in for a lot of these players that, may not be the ones, but those 2s and 3s, especially when you make a deep run in the playoffs. I mean, that's very valuable to give them those opportunities, I would think.
Absolutely. And again, we've been blessed here the past couple of years of making a deep run, and that gives our younger players really an extra spring training, and so those reps and them learning our schemes and them learning really just how we do things. And so, we were able to get some young guys in Thursday night, and I think those young guys got invaluable reps against a good 5A opponent. And so, the speed of the game on Friday is much different than at practice. Sure. So again, it was good film for those young guys. It was good reps for those young guys. And anytime, like you said, you can play in a D1 stadium, it's always exciting. So
and look, Charles Henderson, they're going to the playoffs. I mean, this isn't an also-ran team.
Right.
They came to Pike Road last year and scored 35.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I think I've noticed about your squad the last few weeks is there's times in the game, offensively and defensively, you're just putting athletes out there and letting them do what they do best, whether that's Braylon Outlaw, rushing for touchdowns, or Jamichael, on defense. Maybe not the roles these guys had game in and game out at the beginning of the season, but now that the playoffs are approaching, these last few games, these guys have just gotten to go out there and really shine. I'm sure that's not by accident.
No, and again, hats off to our staff. Our staff's done an excellent job of putting our guys in a spot to be successful, and which in turn makes us successful. And our players have bought into that. There's guys like you said who are playing positions that they weren't playing in August, and we have been practicing those. Those players have gotten reps at practice, but we have waited till later in the year to really put that on display. But again, our boys have done a tremendous job of answering the challenges that we had, because like you mentioned, the past couple of years we hadn't played well in Week 10. We went to the wire against a BTW team my first year here. And then, like you said, Charles Henderson scored 35 on us last year, but our boys were motivated this year, and our boys played really well. My hat's off to them.
Well, 2 players specifically that were playing last week at some of the same positions they've been playing all year, Bryson Brooks, Omari Smith. Bryson had 5 tackles, 2 for loss.
Yep.
His best game of the year on the stat sheet. I know that's a junior. He's got a lot of responsibilities in that locker room, and I can't wait to see him as a senior. Omari had a wonderful game, over 100 all-purpose yards, had the lone interception, went over 1,000 all-purpose yards for the year. It's got to be good to see those guys shine in a Week 10 game, especially when on the road.
Oh, absolutely, and watching those 2 guys progress from Week 0 versus Prattville to now, again, I think it's a visible, tangible difference that our staff and our fans are seeing in those players. And I was very intentional this week of challenging our D-line. Our D-line, we only have 1 senior up front on D-line, and so those guys didn't play as well as they wanted to play a couple of weeks ago, but through the bye week and then through last week's prep versus Charles Henderson, man, I could really see a difference in their intentionality, and they really played exceptionally well. Bryson for sure did.
And they got to go trick-or-treating the next. Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was perfect. Yeah. It was always good to recap the last game we played. I know we're going to talk before this runs over a little bit about our next opponent.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to that. Hope you'll join us here in just a minute on Patriots Weekly.
I'm Granger Shook, head football coach for your Pike Road Patriots. I want to give a big thank you to the shops at EastChase, Montgomery's premier shopping destination, for supporting Pike Road football and sponsoring Patriot Weekly. Just like we bring our best to the field every Friday night, EastChase brings the best in shopping, dining, and family fun to our community.
Check out all the stores EastChase offers online, and when you visit them, thank them for supporting your Pike Road Patriots.
Go Patriots!
Welcome back to Patriot Weekly. Coach Shook, it was good to catch up with you about the Charles Henderson game.
Yes.
You brought a mighty big guest with you tonight. Tell us a little bit more about our player.
Well, Bryson Brooks here is a really, really good player for us. He's a junior. Got some PT last year as a sophomore and did an excellent job. And so he's a starter for us on the D-line this year. And, man, he does an excellent job of anchoring the defensive front, and our defense is pretty good this year. Sure. And so a lot of it has to do with his efforts and, just really trying to dominate the front and help stop the run game and get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And I thought he played excellent last week versus Charles Henderson. You know, he had 5 solos, he had 2 tackle for losses, but he did an excellent job leading that defense last week.
Well, Bryson, 5 tackles. That was your best game of the year, and it came in a big shutout on the road in a D1 football stadium. I assume that means a lot to you.
Yes, sir, it does. It does mean a lot to me. The Troy coach had came to talk to me beforehand, asked me how I was doing. I think Coach Matt talked to him and told him that I've been balling out, so I was really excited for that.
What's it feel like, you know, on senior night a couple of weeks ago, I got the chance to introduce all the senior football players. Your name's not on there. You're a junior. You've got 1 more year of this. But yet, you know, Coach Shook's talking all about you. You have a team-high 5 tackles last week. Are you already excited about next year? I mean, you're really going to be a leader on the team this year and next year.
Yes, sir, I'm really excited about next year. I know we were losing a lot of players, but that really is really not going to affect us in the long run. Next year, I'm going to have to step up a lot more than I am this year.
Yeah.
And be a lot more of a team player and a leader for my team.
So do you see yourself looking up to some of these senior players that are on the team this year and kind of realize there may be freshmen and sophomore and juniors that are doing that to you next year?
Yes, sir. I do look up to a couple of my senior players like Powo, Jordan, B-Law, Miles. I look up to them. They're really good role models for our team.
Yeah.
And they do a lot.
Coach, talk about Bryson in the locker room and the leadership he has of that defense.
Well, again, Bryson is a great player. You know, last week showed that. You know, he's not as vocal yet as a junior, but a lot of the names that he called out are vocal. You know what I mean? And so he understands his role. He's playing really well right now, and I'm very, very proud of him. You know, he does so much for Pike Road football. You know, he helps, actually. He does your job, you know, on Saturday mornings for our youth league. And I know he doesn't realize it, but all those young kids look up to him. And so it's just fun to see our players come and give back to their community while they're still invested in it. And so I'm very, very proud of him.
That's awesome. No, I was going to mention that. I may announce on Friday nights, but Bryson's the guy announcing on Saturday mornings with his kids. I know this is your first season doing that, and listen, there's a lot of late Friday nights when you lake the Pike Road, and then you're getting up and doing that. That's got to be a lot of fun, though, right?
Yes, sir. It is a lot of fun to me. I love enjoying watching younger kids play.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy just calling out all their plays, after seeing them getting happy and hyped for the game, because I know when I previously started, it was in 7th grade. I started working the concessions for the youth league, and then I used to be the hype man for them.
That's awesome.
As in, I've been getting garbage, and now I'm just commentating for them now.
That's great, Dan. We need to get a better deal, right? I mean, so far we're just paid in cheeseburgers and hot. We got to work something out. Really, thanks so much for doing that. I know that means a lot to our community. I know that means a lot to Coach Shook, being a good ambassador for the whole program for our town. So
yeah. And Bryson's going to have a bright future. He's already getting recruited very heavily. I know he mentioned Troy, but he was on a visit to South Alabama this past weekend. And so there's a lot of big schools that are already on him. And so I look forward to watching him progress and go through that process. I know it's a fun process for him, but he's earned it. And so I'm excited to watch it. Great.
Bryson, we're so appreciative you've been here tonight. Great game versus Charles Henderson. Look forward to hearing about a good game against McGill-Toolen this next week.
Yes, sir.
We'll be right back on Patriot Weekly.
This week's Patriot Weekly is proudly brought to you by Brantley Bank, your community partner in Pike Road. I'm Ray Kaiser, your Town of Pike Road president. We're located right outside Public on Vaughn Road. At Brantley Bank, we're built on hospitality. We made banking easy, local, and welcoming. So whether you're saving for something special, managing your business account, looking to make a loan, or just stopping by on the way home from the store, Brantley Bank is right here for our Pike Road community, bringing hometown pride to the end zone.
Welcome back to Patriots Weekly. If you're a Pike Road football fan, this young man next to me is a name that you know very well. Number 0, Omari Powo Smith, coming off a wonderful game versus Charles Henderson last week. Omari, the Charles Henderson game, you crossed 1,000 all-purpose yards for the season. That's got to mean a lot to you.
I mean, yeah, that does mean a lot to me. But first, I just want to give all glory to God. I didn't know that till today.
Okay.
God told me, and give thanks to him and the OC and all my teammates. Without them giving me the ball and my teammates blocking for me so I could get those yards, it just wouldn't be possible. So yeah, I just want to give a shout out to those guys. That's who really deserves it. So,
Well, obviously a big offensive output in Troy last week. He's certainly a big part of that, big 40-yard touchdown catch, an interception too. You just got athletes all over the field. Omari's been a leader ever since he's been on the team from what I can see.
He has, Omari's done an excellent job, for us. His dad's a coach, so he comes from a coach as a mentor and a father, and so he knows how to do things the right way. He's been raised right, and he does those little things the right way and how they're supposed to be done. He shows up on time. When he's there with a purpose. He stays late. He gets extra work in. And so I couldn't be more proud of Powo and what all he brings to this program. We challenge all our players from freshman to senior. Let's find a way today to bring value to our program. How can we bring value? And everybody, their value doesn't look the same. It just doesn't. And so, but Omari does an excellent job of bringing value in the classroom. He has over a 4.1 GPA. He plays offense, he plays defense, he helps tremendously in special teams, but he's a leader. He's a leader on and off the field, and so I'm very, very proud and honored that I get to coach a guy like this.
He seems to not get a lot of plays off for rest during the game, because you're right, he's kick returning, offense, defense. I got to ask, though, as the guy who makes the announcements from the stadium on Friday nights, I see your name on there. Powo is on there every time. I've never known what it meant. So I'm curious if that's something we can talk about in front of folks. If it is, where'd that come from?
I mean, this might sound a little crazy.
Okay.
Okay, so the brand, Polo, Ralph Lauren.
Okay.
When I was younger, they used to be my favorite brand.
Okay.
And I used to want to wear that like all day, every day, no matter where I'm going or where I'm at. So my original nickname is Polo, or Hello. But when I was younger, I couldn't say Polo. I was pronouncing it Powo. So my parents and my friends just started calling me Powo. That's all. Just went in there.
And if Ralph Lauren is listening, NIL deal could come soon, baby, with a little not yet. Yes. Everybody wants the jump man. We could have the polo horse on our jerseys in a couple years. That'd be nice. I got to ask. There could have been a feeling of the team last Thursday. We talked about this a little bit with Coach Shook, where everybody's sort of looking past Charles Henderson, right? I mean, it was a game that they're a 5A school. We'd already clinched the playoffs. Their season, it was just kind of, we were just playing the game, right? We're coming off a bye week. How was your team able to stay so focused and have such an outstanding, really, first half? There wasn't a lot of scoring in the second half. There didn't need to be. But just an absolute slaughter down there, the Trojans. Was that something you guys really focused on hard during the bye week?
I mean, it just come from a lot of preparation, and like Coach always says, don't take no team for granted, no matter who we're playing, where we're playing. And if we just play Patriot football, the score and the outcome will just determine itself. So that's how we look at it. If we just do the right thing, then everything else will fall in place.
All right, I got to ask, if Coach said you could only return kicks, you can only play offense, or you can only play defense, what are you going to do?
I had to choose between.
You had to choose it. He's never going to say this, but I'm just curious.
Between kick return and offense and defense, that's it. I'll probably say defense, because defense wins the game. So if we stop the other team if the other team scores 0 points, then we should be able to win the game.
I'm so glad that we don't have to pin you down to one of those things, though, right, Coach?
That's right. Yeah, 100%.
Well, you've been a leader on the team ever since I've known about it. I may throw a Powo out there Friday night now that I know what it's about. What a great story. But thank you so much for coming on the show this week. We always appreciate seeing you. We'll be right back on Patriots Weekly. Welcome back to Patriots Weekly. Coach, it's time. Regular season's over.
Yep.
It's time for the playoffs, and I know that's a situation that candidly Pike Road Patriot fans are used to being in, but this Friday night it's going to be a serious opponent. McGill-Toolen, the Yellow Jackets from Mobile, Region 1, one of the toughest regions in the state. Saraland, Theodore, St. Paul's. So anywhere you rank in that region to make the playoffs, you know you're a good team coming to the stadium.
Absolutely, and they not only have really good talent, they have excellent staffs. You know, just the resources down there. There's some of the best coaching staffs in the state down there. You know, David Faulkner is the head coach. He does a phenomenal job. He he took Enterprise to the semifinals one year, and he's won really everywhere he's been. Tracy Buchanan is the DC down there. He and I have a really good relationship. He was the DC at Colquitt County when I was down there. Won a state title of 2 years down there, and he's done an excellent job. He's an Elmore County guy, so he wanted to get back in the state, but he's really, really good schematically. And then their DB coach, Andrew Crenshaw, and I have worked together very, very closely at several different stints. So I have a really good relationship with those guys. Those guys are top-notch football coaches and just good men. And so that group down in Mobile is going to be ready to play. But I'm excited for the opportunity, you know. And so, but you're right. It's going to be a 4-quarter game Friday night.
And there's always something about peaking at the right time. McGill-Toolen started the season 1-4.
Yep.
They're on a 6-game winning streak.
Yeah.
But, you know, the one thing that we can control Friday night is the fact that we're at home, right? And I know that's got to be important to have the fans come out for the
It is. And so I know that you know, Friday night the weather should be beautiful. It should be in the mid-70s, not nearly as cold as it was last week. You know, so yes, we need our fans out there cheering on our guys, you know, and that's one thing, you know, I really want to encourage our fans, you know, can't take anything for granted.
Sure.
You know, and so I know we've been blessed to make deep runs in years past, but we've been blessed because we've had great environments, you know, at our place. And so really excited that our boys get to play at home in the playoffs. But it is going to be against a very good opponent.
I certainly don't want to ask anything that's going to give those Yellow Jacket fans something to pin on the bulletin board, but are there things from the Charles Henderson game that you're thinking, man, this really worked out? There's some things we can build on to bring to that round 1 game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought we played really well up front, you know, on both sides of the ball. Now that is, I believe, that's McGill's strong suit. I think they have a really good O-line. I think they have a really good defensive line. They have a couple of guys that are, you know, D1 players. I mean, I think one's an Alabama commit. They have a really good secondary, really well coached. Their quarterback, you know, is an older guy. He's bigger. He's a dual threat. He broke several long runs in a big region win they had versus Spanish Fort.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to have all our I's dotted and T's crossed. But again, I'm excited our boys get to play this week, and you know, I think our week of prep is going to be vital.
So I've got to ask, in the locker room with your staff and with those players, you know, we can say this all we want. It's just another game. This is week 11, but I have to imagine there's got to be a little something extra knowing that this is the first round of the playoffs. Does that get down to the boys, or are they so locked in it maybe truly is just week 11, I guess, on the schedule?
No, I mean, I've spoken to the boys as early as Sunday, you know, about, hey, you know, we have worked our rear ends off to get to this point. You know, there's teams this time of year are either improving or they're getting worse. Nobody's staying the same. And so I believe that Friday night is going to be a battle of two teams that have been improving throughout the year. And again, this senior class is ultra talented. The senior class is full of a bunch of good young men. And so I know that they're going to be motivated to play on Friday night.
Well, listen, I know that the band's going to be ready to host them. I know the cheer squads are going to be ready, and I know the town's going to come out. We certainly look forward to Friday night's game and wish you guys all the best of luck.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Yes, sir.
That's going to wrap up this week's episode of Patriot Weekly. A big thank you to our guests, Bryson Brooks, Omari Powo Smith, and of course, head coach Granger Shook. We also want to thank our sponsors, Brantley Bank and the shops at EastChase, and of course, Dogwood Studios here in Pike Road, who host this show every week. Don't miss Friday night's playoff opener, as the Pike Road Patriots host the McGill-Toolen Yellow Jackets in round 1 of the Class 6A playoffs at Pike Road Stadium. I'll be in the press box announcing the game. I hope to see you in the stands. I'm Jason Isbell, and as always, go Patriots.